So today I'm going to talk about the time I shot My Chemical Romance on their Black Parade tour in 2007. So this year it marks 15 years since Black Parade was released. I thought it would be relevant to talk about this particular shot. So in March of 2007, I was pregnant with my first child. This was a trip, a cover feature, again for Kerrang. It was flying out to Denver with Phoebe, their lovely press officer, who's a dear friend, and Caroline, who is another very dear friend. So we flew out, made our way to the arena, which I think was the Magnus Arena. When we arrived, the writer went to do the interview with the band. And we had a little look around, again, the familiar scenario of trying to find something interesting in a big, ice hockey arena, which is quite bland and devoid of any real atmosphere. The only thing we could find were all their flight cases were all sort of stacked up because they'd obviously just been doing like sound check. I did a few shots of my pals and just made sure that, the lighting was okay. By the time I got to shoot them, I think they'd had a slightly tricky interview, and I think the writer, unbeknownst to him, but pissed them off a bit. So by the time I got them, they weren't in the best moods, but we muddled through and got some shots of them with the flight cases, and then got some individuals, which is actually where, so let's reveal. So this shot of Frank with the cute pooch came about because I think he was the last person from the band that I was shooting individually, and at the time when I was doing his, there were some people milling around who must have been friends with like the promoter or members of the crew, and there was a lady and she had this dog, and anyway, as these things spontaneously happen, I think Frank's really like quite a dog lover anyway, so I think he sort of was taken by this little hound, and he went over and was playing with it. I said, well, let's do some shots with it. Anyway, this shot became a bit of a thing. Not only was it a poster and in the feature, but then it became like a giant poster, I think, for Valentine's, and it's been really cool this week seeing and hearing from people who still have that poster off on their walls. It's a beautiful shot of the two of them 15 years ago. But yeah, anyway, after we got that shot, we went backstage. By this point, the band had sort of calmed down a little bit. Gerard had, because for the Black Parade, he was wearing, white, which, I suppose he was wearing the makeup quite regularly anyway, but for this particular tour, I think, it'd been quite relentless putting the makeup on, and he'd got a really bad skin reaction. So he's feeling pretty down and not feeling fantastic about doing pictures, but yeah, anyway, it didn't matter. Just before they were getting ready to go on stage, I was doing lots of sort of filler content shots for the feature, really, just to give it a bit more interest. And that's something I love doing, that sort of fly on the wall. Recently, I was sort of going through the images again just to see what I had. And this shot is a colour snap, really, which I've since cropped and processed as a black and white, and it's just brought it alive, because actually as a colour image, and I'll put it into my stories, it's just nothing, it's quite bland, but actually as soon as it's become this like contrasty black and white, it's sort of taken on a life of its own, and I'm really pleased with how it's come out. And that's the magic of looking into the archives and working on some of those images. When you're doing it for a feature, you kind of have to turn it around really quickly, so you print out a few prints and you don't have time to get too creative. But actually now, with a bit of time and thought, it's been lovely to look at these old images and bring them out in a whole new way. So my plan is that I'm going to take a little break from my weekly words behind the shots, because now that, you know, lockdown has eased over here, things are getting busier, and it does, because this is not what I do, it does take me quite a lot of time and effort to do it and to sort of gear myself up into, you know, doing the videos and editing them and stuff. So I'm going to take a little break, maybe do them monthly, and in the meantime I have some other plans of things that I want to do. For example, I'd love to do a limited edition box set of the My Chemical Romance shots, for example, lovely black and white portraits of each member of the band, and you know, of course, the puppy shot as well. More exciting things are to come, and I will revisit Words Behind the Shots, but just not every week. I just can't do it at the minute. But thank you for watching so far, and here's to lots more exciting things to come.